Have you seen this ship in a water? And this ship in the water is moving. Suddenly the sea gets rough. The waves started to rise. And it's getting higher and higher. This ship decides, the captain decides, let's park it because we can't cross this moment. So when they park, they're going to lower something in the water. What do you call that? They lower that anchor, right? They lower that anchor. And that anchor is this iron, made of iron, and it's damn heavy. What is that anchor doing? That anchor is pulling the weight down for the ship to be here and not go ahead. It's increasing its buoyancy in this position, preventing it from getting into the thunder and storm, or preventing the ship from getting into this stormy place, because the sea is getting rough, and without that anchor, the ship would have probably gotten into the waves or the storm. So what is the anchor doing? The anchor is keeping the ship held as much as possible in one place. Maybe the anchor is strong enough for the ship to stay there. But for some reason, maybe the storm is greater and stronger than the anchor, so it takes the ship with the anchor. It's a lesson to learn that not all anchors in all storms will work. Well, if the captain survives, or if the management of the ship gets this information, what they're going to do is next time make an anchor stronger than the previous one, so that now when the ship gets out in the ocean, they have an anchor strong enough to hold that ship in a stormy place. And again, the same story. If the anchor survives the storm, if the ship survives that, well, that anchor was a good anchor. It's a working anchor. It's functioning and it's there. But for some reason, if the storm takes it over, well, it's a lesson to be learned that these anchors needs to be reworked, and we need to build a better anchor. Am I clear here? Good. These storms are metaphorical. The ship is a metaphor. The anchor is a metaphor. This whole language itself is metaphor. And I'm communicating through this concept of metaphor that the storms are storms of life. They are these emotional relations, difficult situations, and the ship is we probably, or maybe our relations, maybe just who we are, maybe our goals, maybe our dreams. The ship can be anything. And the ship is going through life. When everything is okay, the ship can go. But sometimes life gets hard. Sometimes Judy says life is out to get us in ways that we can't even imagine. Life will pull us like the dog will pull you when you take the dog out for a walk, she says. But when the dog pulls you, you come back on track. And how do you come back on track if you don't have an anchor? So what's an anchor? An anchor is something that you can have which will keep you held in a desired state and place and will prevent you from getting into those storms of life. So, have you seen people keeping the photo of their family members on the screen? Yeah? I've seen a man keep his wife's photo on the screen. I asked him why. He says, I look at it during difficult times and I say, if I can survive this, I can survive anything. Okay, no jokes. Okay, get serious. That's not what he meant. Or not. Okay. So, well, so we keep these photos. We keep something. So when we look at it, we transport ourselves into that time when that event happened. People keep marriage ring for the same reason, I think. They have these lucky pink stone, blue stone, green stone. Have you seen that? Yeah, it means something for them, because when they look at that pukraj, they feel, oh, this means something. And when you touch that, maybe the cross, maybe the om, these are all those anchors for these people. When do you go to the temple? When do you go to the shade? When do you go to these crosses and oms and rosary? When the storm gets tough, when the dog starts pulling you, when the sea is stormy, you visit these anchors because you believe that there is shade here. You believe that something can be better here. You believe that, well, this will help you restore your state, balance, place, in spite of the fact life is stormy. When there is death, when there is grief, you have all these anchors, but sometimes none of these anchors work. Sometimes the death was so brutal, the passing away of somebody was so harsh, the breakup was miserable, that all your anchors, all your songs, all your resources didn't work. Well, you grieve, you fall, you fail. Then someday you get up and you say, well, it's time to grieve and close that chapter, but at the same time it's important to build a resource strong enough for another moment, for another time in life. Yeah? So we like all our church hymns, temple bhajans, they're all anchors. They help us transport from where we are to a different space. Do you have a rose in some of the books that you've kept and which is there for the last 15-20 years, that someday during Lakshmi Puja or during Christmas when you clean your house and attic, when you open that book, do you pause? Do you get transported in that space? And do you live maybe sometime as though it's happening to you right now? That's what an anchor does. It doesn't let you travel through life in this situation. It gives you a resource, it holds you, it takes you there to a place where you want to belong. How an anchor will help you get to a state or an emotional response instantaneously the moment you lower it, the moment you touch it, the moment you activate it. It takes you to that place immediately and instantaneously, right? So let's say the principal is walking by and you're feeling very scared and very nervous, and at that point in time you wish you had a system where you could be confident. And what if you had an anchor and you could just lower it? The principal is walking and you're confident as fuck over there. The principal goes by and the anchor worked, and you take it back and you keep it back for yourself. What if you're getting on a stage performance and you see all these 400 people there and you're like, oh God, your shit and confidence both went down simultaneously. Yeah, and you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, life is messy. It's difficult. I wish I had some anchors, bro. I'm falling down, I'm failing, my leg is shivering, I'm sweating, my heart is beating faster. What if you had an anchor and you like, you are spokojna, you're in a good state, and you can talk to them like, you motherfuckers. You know, you start talking to this whole class, this whole batch, you start talking to them, and it becomes easy for you to access that world because you have an anchor so strong which prevents you from getting into the storm when life happens. Is that clear? Is that clear? Good. So I think that's sufficient explanation and understanding. Do we have a favorite song? Each of you will have a favorite song, yeah? A painful favorite song, a good favorite song. Do you listen to a song and you say, oh my God, my heart is melting? What's your favorite songs? Your favorite songs are your anchors for some reason. You have a favorite color, a favorite shirt, a favorite person. They are a favorite place. When life is sunny, messy, dark, difficult, do you go to a person, a place, a thing, a song, a food? Well, what it does is, it restores something for you in that moment, and it prevents you from getting sucked into the sea.